Okay, good. So I think we can start. This is recording. Okay, are you all ready? Good to start?
Yes, Nair.
Okay, so let's start. So good afternoon everybody, and welcome to this first TeachMeet of the Europeana in your classroom, building 21st century competencies with digital cultural heritage of the European SchoolNet Academy. Very warm welcome to all of you who are joining this webinar today from different countries across Europe. I saw Greece, Italy, Lithuania, Poland, Croatia, Spain, and many others. So we are very happy to have you here with us today and also on board with us in the course. My name is Nair Carrera, and I'm one of the moderators in this course, along with my colleagues Teo, Jose Maria, Teresita, Maria Antonia, Bori, and also Isabel. And today we are having our first TeachMeet. So as probably you know, a TeachMeet is an informal way of sharing ideas or best practices among teachers, among peers. And today we are having 5 great speakers that we're gonna hear to, we're gonna listen to, and who are going to present very good practices that you can actually replicate in your classroom. So this session will last around 1 hour as usual, but if you have to leave, it's fine, because we are recording the TeachMeet, and we will share it afterwards in the relevant section of the course, which in this case is section 3.7. So if you have any question for any of the speakers, I will ask you to post them in the chat, and we will be gathering those, and we will ask them at the end of their presentations. So you're working now in Module 3 of the course, which is about exploring European educational tools and resources. And to guide us through this topic, for this reason, we have today with us 5 out of the 18 developer group of teachers who have been working really hard with us to create some learning scenarios that you're probably discovering in the course, and that you will discover further in the future. And they are here with us today to explain, to tell us, to show with us what they have been doing. So without further ado, I would like you to introduce to Rafael, Teresita, Rizar, Fulvia, and Nina. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here with us. And that's it. Rafael, if you want to go, the floor is yours. Good luck to all.
Thank you very much, Nair. Well, yes, you can start?
Yes, just share your screen, because we cannot see you at the moment. You can share your camera.
Yes, one moment.
We can hear you, and as soon as we see you, we can start. Yes, there you are. Okay, remember that we have 10 minutes, okay, for each presentation. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. And first of all, my name is Rafa Climent. I am a VET teacher, vocational education and training teacher, in a secondary school in Xàtiva, in Valencia, Spain. My field is business administration, and I normally teach accounting and financial maths. However, there is a subject called enterprise and public administration, in which I teach about European Union institutions, European Parliament, European Commission, and European Council. In this context, in this background, I've built my learning scenario. Before starting my presentation, I would like to share with you via chat 3 links to follow this presentation. Here we are, the first link. The second one is coming. I think the second one, and the last one, for more details, is here. Well,
great.
Going ahead with my presentation, as you can see, the title is The European Union Matters, trying to make a little play on words with the meaning of matters. It is aimed to students aged from 17 to 20 years old. I have 26 students in my classroom and we have spent nearly 9 hours in 3 weeks, 3 hours per week. In my country, in Spain, sometimes young people see the European Union more as a problem than a solution. Because of that, I decided to create my scenario, and here you have the main goals, the main objectives. We will try to convince our students in order to be aware about the importance of the European Union decision. The next slide, you can see the first final outcome in this work. The first outcome or final product will be an European Union interactive map made using ThinkLink, an useful and easy ICT tool to add interaction to all kinds of images. In my case, I have chosen a European Union map coming from Europeana, and I have downloaded it, and after checking out the copyright, I have added some information on each country using this tool. Finally, my students created a blog with 2 entries at least. The first one related to roaming cost, and the second one containing the European Union map, European interactive map, previously done. From my point of view, they all are concerned by roaming cost, as they use mobile phones and they are always talking with Spanish and foreigner friends. They should know that it was the European Union that decided to remove roaming costs, so this decision directly affects our daily lives. I am not sure, but I consider these 2 final outcomes directly linked with the main objectives of my learning scenario. Concerning methodology, in a first moment we need the teacher teaching in a traditional way, explaining what Europeana is about, how to search on it, how to download a file and check the copyright. Also giving clear instructions in order to make the final products previously seen. After that, students will work on teams made up by 4 people. Within each working group, different roles, as you can see here, are given as an example, taking into account that the final outcome is a teamwork product. In order to make the interactive map and the blog, they are supposed to work autonomously, the teacher being a moderator or with a guiding role. Finally, they should present their work to the rest of the classmates in order to be given a final mark by their peers. So I think that's all. Thank you for paying attention to me, and here you have my email address. just in case you want or you need more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rafael. So we know it's short timing. You all have 10 minutes to present, but we know it's short, it's precise. So if you have any question for Rafael, please type it in the chat. And then at the end of all the presentations, we will be asking them any kind of questions that you may have for them. Okay, so thank you very much. We're gonna go now to the next speaker. Thank you, Rafael.
Thank you.
And we have Teresita from Italy. Teresita, ciao, come stai?
Ciao, tutto bene.
Okay, please put the volume a little bit up so we can hear you better.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
It's a bit low again. I don't know if you change it or
No, I don't change it.
just anyway just try to be next to the computer and it will be fine, I guess.
Okay.
It's go ahead.
Okay. As I said, my name is Teresita Gravina, and I am math, science and special needs teacher from Istituto Comprensivo Vanvitelli in Caserta in south of Italy. And today I will talk to you about my idea about to introduce rock classification in junior high school. So for students aged between 11 and 14. And my idea is my learning scenario. You will find at this link that now I will share with you in the chat. And the name is Rocks in the Art. How to do this? Okay. First of all, I went to the Europeana collection and I searched for something that I'm very interesting because I am a geologist, and using some keywords like the one here, petrology, I found a lot of material from Natural Museum talking about rocks and minerals. For example, I found this amazing photo about a serpentina, and I decided to use it in classroom. Also because sometimes when you have to organize a lab classroom, in some school, in particular in Italy, in junior high school, sometimes it's difficult to find the material. So we can use the material we found on internet, and on this Europeana it's very useful for teacher, because as I say that I find a lot of photos about rocks, and I decided to use it to help my students to understand how to classify a rock. Classify a rock is not very easy. It's also for geologists, sometimes it's hard to give a name to a rock, because the only way to be sure that we are talking about this type of rock is to make a chemical analysis. But of course, this is very expensive and sometimes you don't have time. So you have to recognize the rock from the characteristic you will see. And this is, of course, it's not so easy also for the students, but I think that the students in junior high school have a very good ability to observe the environment in which they live. So I think this activity is useful to help them to learn how to use these skills. So with the photo I found on the Europeana, in order to engage my students, I decided to make a game. So using this Scratch I found on Scratch website, I made a remix. I prepare a memory game, which on the other side of the card you have the photo of the rock. Of course, all the students love to play and they love this kind of game, but in this case they are not just playing, but they are also observing the photo of the rocks, so recognizing characteristics that will be useful not only to find the two same photo to win the game, but also to find a real characteristic needed to recognize a rock. After a while, when we were playing with this game, I left my students with the photo, and ask them to observe it, so to underline which characteristic they found in this strange object. And then I give to them this mind map. Now here in the photo you will see all the mind map, but this mind map is responsive. So if you click on the circle, you will have the question, and answering to this question you will have a path, and thinking about all the characteristics that are in this mind map, you will arrive at the maybe real name of the rocks we have in the photo. At the end of the map, you have also a link to a rock database, so you will find the photo of the rock to compare with the one you starting your activity. And if you want to go in deep on this topic, on this page you will have a lot of information about the mineralogical composition and the classification of the rock. But in my case, as my students have 11 years old, I think it was not so useful to go so in depth. But I made this activity just to let them to learn how to observe the photo. After we try to recognize the photo, this helped me to introduce my students about the topic of rock classification. As I said, I don't want to go so in depth with the students because they will study this topic another time at the high school when they have a stronger background in physics and in chemistry. So in this case, I will just give some insight. And the purpose of this insight is to have an idea that the rocks have a cycle, and in each place you will find a different type of rocks related to the historical, the geological history of the place in which you are. After the students were able to use the mind map, and this took, I think, 3 hours of work in classroom, in addition to the explanation about the rock classification, I asked my students to go outside and to make photos with their mobile phone. Because you can find the rock in the environment. For example, here I found this, for me, amazing schist, black and green, and you will see also my backpack as reference. But you can find the rocks also in a lot of other places. For example, on the floor, or maybe on the wall. This is the wall of airport in Naples, and also on the windowsill. This is the windowsill from the European TeachMeet in Brussels. And so I asked to my students to go outside. I left them 3 weeks of time to go outside to make photos about the rocks and to use the mind map we have to try to recognize the photo. During this period of time, in addition to make the photo and to try to understand which kind of rocks they are working with, they have to put the photo on the map. I made this map with Google Maps. You have an option to create your own map, and giving the access to your students, they can add their own points. And also, to add the points, they can add the photo and also a brief description. For example, here we found is this one, a photo uploaded by my students, which found a granite in a paleo church near Naples. He write down the place where he found this, the characteristic he has observed, and which type of rock he thinks he found it. And I think you love this, you like this activity, and this will be useful to do not found answer like this in the exam of your students.
Thank you so much, Teresita, for this very interesting presentation. Right on time. I've seen you've been practicing. Thank you so much. We're gonna move on now to the next speaker. Risa, you there? You ready?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so good luck. Go ahead. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm Ryszard Markowicz from Poland, and I'm a math and ICT teacher. I teach in 74 primary school in Szczecin. The scenario which I prepared is about critical thinking and patient solving problems first on math lesson. And it is prepared for students 13 years, 12, 13 years old. It could be implemented in lessons for 14 and 15 years old maybe. The time which you need is 3 times 45 minutes or 4 times 45 minutes. And have you ever wondered if your wallet is too heavy? I think not. Or a wallet of your grandmother was heavier than yours. I think on the top of this slide you can see the wallet of your grandmother. And thanks to this lesson, you have an opportunity to think very deeply about that. My lesson is about this problem, and it is made for 6th grade students which love challenges and solve real-world problems. This scenario will give students the opportunity to get to know what the density is and how to calculate weight if the density and volume are given. Moreover, the students will develop and demonstrate critical thinking, making judgments, solving complex, multidisciplinary, open-ended problems, communicating and collaborating, and making innovative use of knowledge. And I think this is all about mathematics. First of all, we can look at the role of teacher of my lesson, because the most important thing before the lesson is that the students have to know almost nothing about the density. I mean it, nothing. If your students know something about density, about volume, please skip this lesson and don't do this. Never. Because they will find relevant information, do some experiments and solve the problem without your help. You can only watch out on time of activities and ask them questions if they stuck. Never tell them the answer. So, what you can do on this lesson? You can give students time for productive struggle with each task. Please question rather than explain the math. Explain what you want them to do, but not how to approach it. Ask for explanations, not answers. For example, you can tell them, tell us how you got that. Or you can ask, why does that make sense? And you can ask again, can you say more about that? Nothing more. What else? Scaffolding. You must break up a task into steps. And you must clear up misunderstandings, if they come up, of course. And you let an activity run like past the suggested time. Nothing else. On the other hand, what students have to do on this lesson? Students are expected to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Look for and plan solution paths. Students have to understand the approaches of others, make sense of quantities and their relationships in problem situations, understand the approaches of others, communicate to others and respond to the argument of others. So they must try to communicate precisely to others. They have to justify their conclusions and continually ask themselves, does this make sense? I think we mathematicians forget about this question, but this is very important. So, let's start. First, students play the game about knowledge useful during the lesson. This is the Kahoot. You can find here the link to this game. What for? It will show you what they know about. Ideally, they have very low score and they know nothing about density and volume. So, If they know nothing, they have to find some information. Then divide them into 5 groups and ask each group to answer the question from the presentation in Google Docs. The link you can find here. Here is some example of this presentation. Every slide is different. Is a different question. For example, what the density is. What is the density of water? What is the density of gold, of silver? Or how to calculate weight? Or how to calculate volume of some figures. And you must remember, give them as much time as they need. Do not rush them. Just watch. I think you could be surprised. And after they find some information, now this is the time for actual lesson. So, give them the main question. The main question is, when in history did wallet weigh the most? Next, show them Padlet with coins from Europeana collection. You can find this here. This is the Padlet from my lesson. And give each group 1 period in history. There are 4 periods in history: ancient times, Roman Empire, Middle Ages, and post-Middle Ages. And they have all relevant information. They found them. They have skills and ability to solve this problem. So remember, you can only ask a question and give them the time. The less you do on the lesson, the more they will achieve. And if you enjoy my lesson, if you enjoy coins, you can find more on the website. When you put the word coins into Europeana collections, you can find 264,000 results. So enjoy the coins. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Very interesting presentation as well. A lot of coins to be found in Europeana. So we encourage the audience to go there and explore and see what they can find there. Thank you very much, Richard. Let's move on to the next speaker, who is Fulvia. Ciao, Fulvia. Welcome. In the meantime, if you have any questions for the speakers so far, you can just type them in the chat, and we will be gathering those. We will ask them to the speakers at the end of the TeachMeet. And Fulvia, if you're ready, the floor is yours. Good luck.
Okay, I'm ready. Hello everyone, I'm Fulvia, I'm Italian. I'm a primary school teacher in Castel Goffredo, Mantova. My second grade students are between 7 and 8 years old. I teach science, history and geography. The timing of this scenario is about 5 to 6 lessons, 2-hour lesson. I think this scenario called artistic landscape can be an exciting way to supplement a geography lesson. In our geography program this year, the students learn about the Italian landscape. And so for this reason, I planned a learning scenario through the Europeana collection Landscape and Landmark. The scenario aims to create an interactive landscape presentation using the WebArting link, the one that Raphael showed you before. For the background of the presentation, instead of using normal landscape images, the students will use some paintings selected from the Europeana website. The students will work in groups, and each group will have a different landscape to analyze and some information to search. In order to achieve this goal, the students will appreciate art collections, recognize connections and differences between the real landscape and paintings, analyze a landscape, find out information about the main characteristics, and animate the paintings with GIF, text, videos, and some drawings. Finally, pretending to travel through the paintings, the children will acquire correct behaviors related to the landscape. So now let's see how my students worked. First of all, I presented the scenario and the activities to the pupils using a web quest. I showed them the assessment rubric as well. I introduced the students to the Europeana website and the maps and geography collection. The children watched the paintings and recognized the different landscape as town, river, mountains, and so on. After that, in small groups, they browsed the collections and chose for paintings suitable to the assigned landscape and saved the images in a folder. At home, the students had the chance to test their knowledge by doing exercise I prepared with the web application learning apps. At this point, I took the chance to make a short introduction about the copyright rules and the Creative Commons license. Are we allowed to use images found on internet? We need to know the rules. We can't use the images covered by copyright. We can use the public domain or the Creative Commons under some condition. So I asked the students to browse to the Europeana collection, maps and geography, found and saved 3 different paintings. One covered by copyright, one under Creative Commons license, and one in public domain. After that, in groups, the students checked and discussed about the images saved and decided which painting to use as background for the presentation according to the Creative Commons license. Next. After creating an account for each group, I showed the students how to use the web application ThinkLink, just the first steps, how to log in, how to upload an image, and how to link information. And so, after a few attempts, the students produced an interactive presentation with all the information learned in the previous geography lesson about flora, fauna, and the natural elements of the chosen landscape. And here we are. Let's dress up. I asked the children to bring from home some objects and clothes that suited their landscape and to wear them at school for the final presentation. That was the funniest moment for everyone. The children were swimming on the floor, collecting mushroom, real mushroom, working with a dog, fortunately a toy dog, and fishing with rods. It was very, very funny. They were great. While they were acting, I took some pictures and later I pasted them in the ThinkLink presentation. And here you can see some screenshot I took from their ThinkLink presentation. Finally, with all the interactive images, I produce an ebook with the EPUB creator and shared it and shared the ebook with the other classes and with the family. Now I write in the chat, copy, paste. Here you can see the link to the ebook. That's it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy my scenario, and I wish you to find a nice idea for your classes through the Europeana website. Bye bye. Ciao.
Thank you, Fulvia. Thank you so much for this very nice presentation. We saw the students having fun. And it's true that when they actually have fun, they don't realize that they are learning. So point taken for the future scenarios that will be created in European as part of the MOOC. So thank you very much, Fulvia. And we're gonna go now to Nina. I don't know if you're ready, Nina. I don't see a microphone here next to you, so can you try to speak and see if we can hear you?
Okay.
Yes, now we can. Okay, so I'll move the slide to your presentation, and whenever you want, the floor is yours, Nina. Good luck.
And I work in an upper secondary school here in Helsinki, Finland. And I was glad to see that quite a few of you have already tried my learning scenario, which was about art history and introduction that to students and how to make it fun. Sorry.
Nina, sorry to interrupt. Do you maybe have a camera, or you prefer not to? Does it work? Do you have a camera to show? Can you share your camera? Okay, otherwise, if not, it's fine. Okay, I think we can see you now. Yeah, we can. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Very beautiful.
The scenario is about learning by doing, so getting active in the classroom instead of just reading books or looking at pictures or doing something teacher-led. So I would show them the pictures and tell them what the elements in the pictures are. So I would rather have the students do it themselves. On the surface, the learning scenario seems very easy, but I found it actually to be quite effective, and that is because I get the students involved. So rather than listening, they're doing the work themselves. And as a general rule, I always try to have some fun elements in my lessons. I try to tell jokes, but it doesn't always work. But when they are doing something, they usually find it fun. And another thing that we are quite concerned here in Finland is that during a day, students will usually sit down for 75 minutes in a row, and that is too long. We do have classrooms with standing desks, but we also try to activate the students. It's actually not a very good picture because he's lying down there, but the point is that he actually went out and took the picture, so it means that you can let the students roam around a little bit in the classroom and even in outdoors, and you can see it's snowy there, so it was March when I took the picture. Overall, I'd say the scenario that I created is very easy to adapt to different kind of lessons. I would say that it's minimum 45 minutes that you need to do the easy version. If you like, you can do much more. You can do one lesson in medieval art, next lesson in Renaissance, or pick up countries. If you don't find nice pictures that you have in the Van Gogh Yourself gallery. There's plenty of them in Europeana, and you can also use other pictures, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And then when I was thinking about how you can use this, I mean, if you're not really teaching art history, you can use this for special events. In Finland, we have a National Day for Culture, or for Finnish literature, and we could use that. It could be for the National Day, and then you can concentrate on your country's artists. Or then you can celebrate some other countries, you know, if they have their national days, or if there's something particular going on. Also, you could think about cooperation with the local art museum or library. You can build up an exhibition. If you have an exhibition in the museum, then the students could take or recreate the pictures or the paintings there and have maybe online exhibition, or maybe even a printed exhibition in the library lobby or something like that. You can build it up as much as you like. You know, it could be up to a few weeks project. So from one lesson up to almost anything. When I was doing this with my students, I ran into trouble. There's a picture of it. So the Van Gogh Yourself platform didn't work as expected. So the main thing that you need is a reliable internet connection. If you don't have that, then you have to prepare a little bit, you know, have art history books with you, or print some pictures beforehand. Usually I'd say students have quite adequate smartphones and they know how to use them, so you don't have to actually teach the students anything. They would know how to take pictures and how to put them together. In my classroom, we used laptops. It's because they were available, but you don't necessarily need them. What you need to do is to prepare some kind of a file, cloud file, where to store the outcomes. I used Google Classroom, but you could use OneDrive or Dropbox or anything. Or then the other thing is to have a USB drive ready, but if you're only using smartphones, that might be tricky. So I'd rather take a cloud. When I presented this to my students, I used myself as an example. This is what I did early on this year. So just one picture, and they found it very funny to see me posing like that. And it's actually, I told them, and I'll tell you too, it is not a cigarette, it is a pencil. So don't worry, I'm not promoting smoking, although the original picture has a smoker. And then there are some things that you need to remember when you're doing something like this. If you publish something in the internet, you have to be very careful that you have all the right permissions. You know, you need to have a consent from your students. And also, you might like to check if your school has a certain policy that you don't publish anything online. There might be schools like that. So be careful when you do that. So just check where you are. And just like Fulvia, I'd like to remind you about the licenses. You would need a CC, Creative Commons license, for a picture that you want to recreate if you want to publish it. You can also take a picture from artwork in a book, but then you can't publish it, of course. Most pictures on Europeana are okay to publish, but just and everything on the Van Gogh Yourself gallery is okay to publish, but just check before you do it. And if you are afraid of little trouble with technology, don't be. That happens often, at least in my school. So you can just solve the problems on the run. That's what happened with me. The platform didn't work, but luckily I had created the file where they could upload their pictures, so not a problem at all. But if you sort of anticipate a certain problem, just be prepared for that, so you have a backup plan. It'll make the lesson more smooth. And that's basically it. I think the learning scenario itself is very simple. It's very easy to start. So I would just say, like, go ahead and try it. And please post the pictures on the Facebook site. I mean, if you go and check the Facebook account, there are plenty of pictures of. I'll just share the link with you. There are plenty of pictures that people created, and I really, really like them. Some of them are really well made and not made by instant, dressing up and everything. It's very lovely. So thank you all. If you have any questions, please type them in.
Thank you, Nina, so much. It has been really, really interesting, very inspiring. Thank you also for pointing out the copyright license and the things that teachers need to have in mind when sharing pictures of the students, which is really important to consider. So thank you. And so we have 10 minutes now for questions. If you have any question for any of the speakers, please write them in the chat. We're going to be answering these questions today before we leave. And I'm going to ask all the speakers to switch on your camera if you want, so that we can see you all together there at the end of the TeachMeet. And in the meantime, because I have a couple of questions that I would really like to ask, because I think it's really a great opportunity to have you here with us today, explaining what you have been doing and all the work and effort that you have been doing. So all the teachers here who are following the course and you're planning to do a learning diary, not that you plan it, but you have to do it if you want to get the course badge and certificate. So if you have any question for the speakers, ask them now. And in the meantime, I would like to ask, Teresita, can you hear me? I have a question for you, but I don't hear you now. Your microphone is muted, okay?
Yeah, now it's
okay. So I just wanted to ask, because I saw your of course I know all the scenarios. I just wanted to ask if you felt that there was any difference in your students, so in the way your students react when you implemented this lesson with them. If you felt they were more motivated, more engaged, or it was the opposite, what do you think?
I think they were very motivated, because I decided to make this scenario because rock is not very easy topic, and I want to let them to be curious about this topic. So it was funny because between the 3 weeks they have to go around and make photos. Every day they come back at school to me with their mobile phone. Oh, teacher, I found this. I think it's this, but I'm not sure. So we can talk about this. And it was funny because they discussed about this. And one time I make a video. I found all the students in the classroom standing saying rocks, 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 because they wanted the lesson to the rocks and not do the other topic. So I think they were very motivating and enjoying this scenario.
Great, thank you. I'm sure they were. Thank you. Fulvia, I have a question for you, if you are willing to answer. So, Mike, it's a very easy question. I just want to know. I just want you to tell the audience, so the other teachers, what was the best thing of creating this scenario? Your microphone is muted, so we cannot hear anything yet.
You hear me now?
Yes, now it's fine.
Okay. Of course, the dress-up moment for the children was the funniest, but at the end, when they present their scenario to the classmate, I realized they memorize and they learn quite a lot of words related to the characteristic of the specific landscape they were studying. I think sometimes at this age, learning about landscape can be a little too much abstract for them, but playing with the paintings and try to watch the landscape with in a different way, it helps them to memorize all the words and also the characteristic and the flora, the fauna, and all the elements of the landscape, the natural landscape.
Great, thank you so much, Fulvia, grazie mille. Okay, Rafael, I got another question for you. Can you unmute yourself? And it's a question related to ThinkLink. My question is a very easy one. I just wanted to ask if this was the first time, that you used ThinkLink with your students, and if so, if they enjoy or not.
Yes, it was the first time for me and for my students too. And I consider it was very easy to use this ICT tool, and only one advice. When registering on ThinkLink, we have two different manners in order to do this login. So we can register as a teacher and as a company. So it is better to do this process as a company, because as a teacher we could have some problems. But when making the map, this tool is easy to use. Only we have to upload the image, and after that adding interaction, adding information on each country, it was very, very easy for my students.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rafael, so much.
Thank you,
and I've got another question for Risa. In the meantime, if you have any questions for the speakers also, please feel free to type them in the chat. We still have a few minutes. Risa, I have a question for you, because we have a lot of teachers here with us. We have around 50 teachers in the TeachMeet, and in the recording will benefit many more. So my question for you is, when you were creating your scenario and browsing around Europeana platform, do you face any problem, and if so, how did you solve it?
I think I haven't many problems in searching in Europeana collection, because I knew what I was searching for. So I put important words to the Europeana collection, and I found what I wanted. So I think it was easy.
The question also goes for the others. So if you want to mention anything, feel free to do it as well, because some teachers were mentioning that it might be a bit overwhelming to find an interesting resource or something in the platform. Also, just a reminder of the curated datasets that they have, that are actually very useful, because they are already curated. So if you're interested about the topic, you can just directly go there and find the resources related to this topic. There is a question for Fulvia. Fulvia, we're going to jump in. So can small children find what they need in Europeana platform by themselves?
They can, thanks to the collections. Because my students, they browse only in the maps and geography collection, so for them was easy to find images. Because with all the images in the Europeana website, for the children, the young children, they are unable to search. There is too much images, but through the collection, they are able to do it.
Okay, great. I've seen some people typing. Just wanted, if there is no other question, I just had one last question prepared for Nina. Nina, because you were very inspiring, telling to the teachers what the problems they may face and so on. So what could you tell to a teacher that it's actually planning to use Europeana, but they are a bit scared or a bit reluctant to use it? What would you tell them?
Well, I would say it's such an easy platform, and just like as you said, there are lots of these curated collections that you can also use. I mean, you can use the Van Gogh yourself, or then you can pick one of the curated collections, and they are easier to use because there's so many items over there. Just a random search is maybe not that good. But if you take a collection, then I'd say it's fairly easy to use. And of course, in the Van Gogh Yourself gallery, you would get lots of ideas of what to do.
Indeed. Okay, so just an encouragement, a collective encouragement to all participants to go to Europeana platform, browse, explore, and if you have any question or anything, you can always let us know, and especially to the teachers, I'm sure they will be happy to help you. So there is another question. Enrique is asking, as a math and physics teacher at high school, I have problems to find resources suitable for me. Any advice? So this is an open question. Who wants to answer this? Not all at a time, please. Let's raise your hand, because otherwise we don't understand.
Okay. Say something about that.
Okay. Thank you.
This is a tricky question because I think you have to see. First of all, you have to find something, and then you can think about this item this item and how to make a scenario about this item. This is very difficult to think about scenario and then implement something from Europeana. So I think first is an item from Europeana, and then think about scenario about this item.
Okay, that's a very good tip. Thank you, Risa, for jumping in. There was a question, I'm not sure, but I saw in a reply, question from Liliana, right? So yes. Liliana,
there was a question about whether one could use video to document what the students do, and I think it's a great idea. Certainly, absolutely. Please do use video, because that would be fun to see how they actually did the actual creation process. I think it would be great, and it would probably be even more fun to watch it afterwards with the students, because that's what my students said, that one of the best parts of this was to see what others did. Of course, they did some group work, but they couldn't see what everybody was doing because somebody was outside, somebody was in the classroom, somebody was in the corridor. So at the end of the session, we all came together, and then we saw the pictures. But to see like a short film, because they're very good at editing like little films that they record with their smartphones. If you ask them to make a 1 or 2 minute film, it would be great. Absolutely. Good idea.
Great, thanks, Nina. Teresita, you raised your hand. I don't know if you want to say something. Please go ahead.
I want to add something about the use of Europeana resources in topics like math or science or physics. I can understand that maybe for a math or physics teacher it would be not so easy to find material on a website which is most focused on cultural heritage. But I think the important thing is not to think just math. Okay, maybe one day you are talking about the history of math and you will find on Europeana the books that talks about the history. So it would be nice to show to your students this resource. So the important, I think, is to keep in mind that in Europeana you will have a lot of material, and maybe you will have an insight during your lesson, or while you're searching you found something, and from this just one web page you will implement an entire learning scenario.
Thank you so much, Teresita, for this advice. And I think that if there is no other questions, we can close here. So great presentations, everybody. Very inspiring, very well done. The timing was perfect. Thank you very much for this, which allow us to give us some time at the end for questions to the participants. And before we finish, I would like to just remind to everybody that we have the other TeachMeet on Module 5. So it's on the 31st of May at 5. And there's still time to apply to participate. So if you want to do the same that our teachers have done today and present your learning scenario, you can do it. You can apply. There is still few spots left, not many. So if you want to do so, please hurry up. And you have until the 21st of May to do so. And I think that's it. If you want to say something, anybody? Richard, Fulvia, Teresita, Rafael, Nina, the floor is yours.
Thanks to everybody. It was great to stay with you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Well, in my case,
Thank
in my
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Go ahead, Rafael. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Teresita, also, you were saying something?
Yes, I would just say thank you, and I hope you find interesting our resource.
Nina?
So yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure to be presenting, and I hope you enjoy the scenarios that we made. You know, go ahead and have a look at all of them. There's at least 18 of them.
Richard, one last word before we go home.
Thank you very much for this meeting. It was a pleasure.
Okay, and also from my side and all the MOOC team who were also here, Theo, Bori, and everybody else, thank you very much, especially to the teachers for presenting today, and to all the attendees for being here. Stay tuned to social media channels, Facebook group, and also Twitter with the hashtag Europeana MOOC, and see you all soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, everybody.